Penny, you said you wanted to speak with me privately. What's up?
I believe I have found a solution to the problem of how to feed Vince. As you know, my breasts don't produce enough milk for him and we can't give him cow's milk, nor can we afford formula for him because I am the only one making us money until you start working as a science teacher at our town's high school.
I know. That's why my mother bought all that formula for Vince after we left the hospital with him. And next week she plans to buy us more.
She shouldn't have to do that. Anyway, my idea is for us to hire a wet nurse.
A what?
A wet nurse is a woman hired to breastfeed someone else's baby. They were common in the Middle Ages.
I know that. But who besides you would be willing to breastfeed Vince?
Bella. She has been breastfeeding her baby Linda since Linda was born, but now Linda is teething and thus can be started on solid foods. So Bella will wean her and then start breastfeeding Vince instead.
I'm not sure I am comfortable with this. Wouldn't we be expected to pay Bella for her breast milk? And wouldn't she have to come here every day?
Bella has been my best friend and also my co-worker at the Tuscany Tavern since we were in school together. I trust her. Bella told me that her breasts often produced so much milk that they would become engorged and painful, so she would have to drain them and then drink her own breast milk. So her problem is the opposite of mine. Bella can continue to drain her breasts using a breast pump and then give her milk to me when we are together at the Tuscany Tavern. Then I will bring the milk here to feed Vince after work.
All right, we shall try it and see how well it goes.
Paul, you already met my adopted uncle Jonathan. This is my blood uncle, Brad Jackson. His sister, Darla Jackson, was my birth mother.
A pleasure to meet you, Paul. What would you like to drink? I drink mostly Coca-Cola or fruit juices. Orange juice sounds good. Vicky, we need to talk about the giant, ugly elephant in the room. Somehow, my sister is up for parole this year.
How can that be? I hope she never gets released.
I blame that stupid war on drugs waged by our federal and various state governments since the 1970s. So many people were given such long prison sentences for selling or even possessing illegal drugs that it resulted in prison overcrowding, and thus often violent and perverted criminals would get released early to make room for those convicted of drug dealing. Based on what I just saw, a case of two people who were addicted to drugs, what's wrong with the government trying to stop drug dealing? It's hypocritical for governments to try to stamp out the selling of certain substances while also taking tax money from the sale of alcohol and tobacco. Those are drugs too. Drugs that can kill people even while being perfectly legal. Vicky, you were 7 years old when your birth mother was put away for her crimes, so you couldn't give a victim impact statement before she was sentenced. But I think you can give just such a statement at her upcoming parole hearing. And perhaps confronting her one more time will do you good. I've heard that Darla deludes herself into thinking that someday you and she will be together again.
The very idea makes me want to throw up. Indeed, I don't even want to see her at all. It took so many years to stop having nightmares about her. I've got it. I can provide a victim impact statement without having to even be at that hearing.
How will you do that?
I will show you.
Vicky then pulls out her smartphone and uses it to look up YouTube and a video on the YouTube channel shared by Jessica and Lucy Sims. She then shows the video to her uncle Brad.
My name is Vicky Sims. No doubt many of you have read or heard terrible things about me, so I have written this essay to set the record straight. Yes, I was born to a woman who was a prostitute, and I have no idea who my genetic father is, nor does it matter. I had no choice about this matter. Strictly speaking, there are no illegitimate children, only illegitimate parents. My birth mother made choices to both get hooked on drugs and to become a sex worker to feed her drug habit. She became so obsessed with making as much money as possible that she even allowed pedophiles to rape me after they offered her money to do this. I was also used a lot in child porn. But I was so messed up that I thought this was normal, and it wasn't until I was 7 and my uncle Brad found out what was happening that he reported it to the authorities, causing his sister to be sent to prison. But my uncle already had 3 kids, and he was impoverished, so I was put in various foster homes. But until I was 12, no one wanted to adopt me, mainly because I had contracted HIV from one of my rapists. Then a couple of lesbians, Lucy and Jessica Sims, came into my life. After learning of my plight, they decided to adopt me. This is why I find it strange that some people are opposed to LGBT people adopting children. Would it have been better for me to still be in foster care? No. With the Sims, I not only gained 2 loving mothers, but also a sister, who is bisexual, a sister-in-law who is also lesbian, and other relatives by adoption who have loved and supported me far more than my birth mother ever did. There is a huge difference between being sexually deviant, like LGBT people are, and being sexually violent like my birth mother and her perverted clients were. In addition to giving me a better life, my mothers introduced me to their religion, Unitarian Universalism. The first principle of this religion is the inherent worth and dignity of all people, including me. Because I was told I was worthy of love, I learned how to love others in turn. And as a result, I now want to be a UU minister so I can help others just as I was helped. Giving spiritual and moral guidance is my calling, and I hope you will support my efforts.
You know what? That just might persuade the parole board to keep my sister behind bars.